Hello and welcome back to yet another episode on the Alejandro Hernandez podcast. And today I'm going to be giving you guys my predictions, my preview, and my best bets for this Super Bowl 59 upcoming this Sunday in New Orleans. Now, Chiefs-Eagles, you already know, I'm guessing you can assume by the color shirt I'm wearing, I'm going to be going with the Chiefs to win this game and to complete the three-peat and cement themselves as the best dynasty in the sport. I have full confidence that the better coaching staff, the better quarterback will get the job done over the Philadelphia Eagles. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are superior to Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. And I have full belief that these two teams will score a lot of points in this game. I expect this game to be very high scoring, and I believe the Chiefs come out on top in a high scoring game. I also believe that, like Super Bowl 57, both teams will go back and forth, lead changes. I expect the Eagles to lead early in this game. I expect them to come out with a fast start, and I expect the Chiefs to come roaring back. And in the third and fourth quarter, there'll be lead changes, there'll be ties, and I believe in the end the Chiefs will get the ball last. They'll go down, do whatever it takes to win the game, whether it's getting a stop on defense like they did against Buffalo or getting a game-winning field goal like they've done previously in the playoffs. Now, matchups in this game: Patrick Mahomes against Vic Fangio's defense. A stat for you guys is that Patrick Mahomes all time against Vic Fangio, either as a defensive coordinator or as a head coach, he's 8-0 against Vic Fangio all time. So while Vic Fangio is this great defensive mind, it's not taking anything away from how good of a coach he is. Patrick Mahomes has just owned him in all of his matchups, and he's performed exceptionally in all 8 of those games that he's played against Vic Fangio's defense. And against number one pass defenses all time, Patrick Mahomes is 3-0 when facing a number one ranked pass defense, and the Eagles are a number one ranked pass defense, and he's also performed exceptionally in those 3 games. One of them being in the Super Bowl, in his first Super Bowl against the Niners in 2019. They were the number one ranked pass defense, and he torched them in that matchup. Another one was in 2021 when he played the Bills in the AFC Divisional. He also put up 42 points on that number one ranked pass defense, completely torched them. So I don't believe that the Eagles defense, especially their secondary, will be able to slow down Mahomes or affect him at all in this game. I also believe that Patrick Mahomes will do whatever it takes, whether it's with his arm or with his legs. You saw in that Buffalo AFC Championship game, he had 11 carries for 43 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, including one design zone read in the red zone in which he took it in for a touchdown. Andy Reid and Mahomes, they come alive in the playoffs, and while he may not run as much in the regular season, when it comes playoff time, he will use his legs to win them games and to put them in positions to win games. When the defense is not expecting him to run, he will run, and he'll remind everyone that he's capable of doing that. And I believe that he'll use that to his advantage yet again in this game. Given how good the Eagles pass rush is, he'll be able to build a pocket, scramble outside, scramble for yards, maybe even do a scramble drill with Travis Kelce, which they're so great at when he scrambles out of the pocket and Kelce breaks open, like just playing backyard football. I believe they'll have a play like that in this game. And another reason why I think he'll excel using his legs is because in the NFC Championship game, Jayden Daniels had 6 attempts for 48 yards and a rushing touchdown. So the Eagles are vulnerable to running quarterbacks. And I also believe that in big games, Xavier Worthy has shown up for the Chiefs. He has been their number one option all season. I expect a big game from him. I expect a big game from Travis Kelce, who's been exceptional in his 4 Super Bowl appearances. And I also expect a great game from Kareem Hunt in the running game as well, who has taken over the backfield over Isaiah Pacheco. Now moving on to the other side of the football, Jalen Hurts matching up against this Chiefs defense. Hurts was spectacular in that NFC Championship performance against the Washington Commanders. He threw the ball excellently. He also ran the ball well, running for 3 rushing touchdowns. It was a great 1-2 punch with him and Saquon in the passing and the running game. They were firing on all cylinders in that matchup. But with all that being said, the Washington defense is nothing close to what the Chiefs defense is. They were a weak defense, and you saw in the Rams game in the divisional round, Jalen Hurts got sacked 7 times by that Rams defense, and he struggled against Green Bay as well, who was also a better defense. So when the Eagles have played better defenses, they haven't looked as unstoppable on offense as they did in that 55-point showcase in the NFC Championship game. I believe you're giving Steve Spagnuolo 2 weeks to prepare for this Eagles offense. He will have answers. He will have a great game plan heading into this game to slow down their rushing attack, first of all, and then disrupting Jalen Hurts' rhythm in the passing game. And Hurts has excelled throwing in man coverage because teams are stacking the box. A.J. Brown is seeing single coverage. Devonta Smith is seeing single coverage. And although the Washington Commanders put Marshawn Lattimore on A.J. Brown, he still torched him. But I believe that Trent McDuffie is a top 5 cornerback in the NFL, and he will neutralize A.J. Brown. Not that he will stop him, but he will neutralize him. He won't have as big as a game as he did against Washington in this Super Bowl. And that Trent McDuffie basically cancels out A.J. Brown, so then they'll have their number 2 corner, Jalen Watson, on Devonta Smith. The Chiefs match up. I believe the Chiefs match up in the secondary against the Eagles pass catchers. They have Nick Bolton, they have Leo Chanel, they have Drew Tranquil in the zone coverages, in the man coverages against the tight ends and the running backs. The Chiefs defense does match up with this Eagles offense. Especially on the defensive line, they get interior pressure with Chris Jones. They get edge pressure with George Karlaftis. They have Charles Omenihu. They have players. This Chiefs defense is talented. One of the most talented defense and one of the most well-coached defenses in the NFL. And I believe it'll be tough for the Eagles. I'm not saying that they'll be stopped or they won't produce points. I believe they will produce points, but it won't come as easy as it did against Washington. And I believe that Steve Spagnuolo, with this 2-week preparation, will cook up some zone blitzes, in which he did against Josh Allen. And I believe he won't use them early on in the game, but in the high leverage 3rd downs, 4th down situations, Steve Spagnuolo will get in his bag in his defensive playbook, and he will affect Jalen Hurts when they decide to throw the ball. He will be prepared to send a zone blitz that the Eagles will not be expecting. I believe that will happen again in the Super Bowl the same way it did in the AFC Championship game. And so it's been evident that Jalen Hurts has done great against man coverage, and the Chiefs run man coverage at the 10th highest clip in the NFL. I believe Steve Spagnuolo will change things up. He won't give A.J. Brown single coverage. He won't give Devonta Smith single coverage. They'll have safeties over the top defending the deep ball, and they'll also attempt to contain Saquon Barkley. And the Eagles formula, if any Eagles fan watching this game, if they want to win this game, if they want to be put in a position to win this game, they'll have to run the ball. They'll have to be effective running the football. And the Texans and the Bills were able to run the ball good against the Chiefs, so that's an encouraging sign for Eagles fans and Eagles bettors. But I believe that Steve Spagnuolo, they'll button up that run game. They'll sell out to stop the run and force Jalen Hurts to beat them. I believe when the Chiefs have an advantage on defense is with Jalen Hurts throwing the ball, not Saquon Barkley running it down their throat. And I believe that's the position they want to be in, having Hurts throwing the ball, playing from behind. If the Eagles play with a lead, it'll be tough for the Chiefs to come back from. Although the Eagles did lead by 10 points in the Super Bowl in the first matchup, they still came back and won. So either way you put it, the Eagles lead early or the Eagles are coming from behind. I believe the Chiefs have an advantage in both those situations. Because even if the Chiefs trail, they've trailed by 10 plus points in all three of their Super Bowl wins. They've trailed by at least 10 points and have come back to win all 3 of those games. So whether the Eagles are in front or trailing, you love the Chiefs. You love the Chiefs in that spot because they've showed time and time again that they are unfazed with any adversity that they face in these big games. And I believe that if the Eagles control time of possession like they did against Washington and they're able to take care of the football, they have a good shot at winning this game. But even if they do those 2 things like Buffalo did not turn the ball over and they had good time of possession, yet it didn't matter because the Chiefs scored 32 points. And I believe that the Chiefs will do whatever it takes to win. If it takes scoring 38 like it did in the first Super Bowl matchup, they'll score 38. And if it's a defensive game, then the Chiefs will win a defensive game. And I believe that the Chiefs, they won't stop Saquon, but they'll contain him. They won't let him break the game open. They won't let him take over the game. Will he eclipse 100 yards? I'm not sure. The Chiefs haven't allowed an 100-yard rusher in the postseason in a very, very long time. So it would be unprecedented for Saquon to go over 100. I do not put it past him at all. I believe he's capable of doing anything in this game. Christian McCaffrey had an unbelievable performance last year for the Niners in the Super Bowl. It didn't matter. The Chiefs won anyway. So will Saquon perform? I hope he does. I'm a huge Saquon guy, and I hope he plays great in his first Super Bowl. However, I think his efforts won't be enough in this game for the Eagles to win. And I just trust the Chiefs more in situational football in this game. Big 3rd down offense and defense. Red zone, I trust the Chiefs. Special teams, including the kickers. I trust Harrison Butker, who's made so many more clutch kicks than Jake Elliott. Jake Elliott, especially this season, has been horrific, as I've stated in all my previous Eagles predictions and recaps, Jake Elliott has been a huge Achilles heel for this Eagles team. Will it show up again in the Super Bowl? We'll see. I would be devastated for Eagles fans if they end up losing this game because Jake Elliott missed an extra point or missed a field goal, which is very likely considering he's missed a kick in all 3 of their playoff games this year. So if he misses another one, that the margin for error is so slim when you play the Chiefs. So you cannot have missed kicks in this game if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. And we'll see how Nick Sirianni handles that, whether he wants to go for 4th downs, whether he wants to go for 2 after a touchdown. We'll see how that plays out. And I trust the Chiefs in the fourth quarter, and in 2-minute drills, whether it's in overtime, the end of the 2-minute warning of halftime, before the half. I trust the Chiefs to either get a stop or get a score. Either way you put it, I just trust the Chiefs in situational and high leverage situations in this game. I expect a spectacular offensive display from both teams. I think it's high scoring. I think both teams get in the high 20s, but ultimately the Chiefs do come out on top. And I believe that Mahomes cements himself not as the GOAT. I still believe Tom Brady is the GOAT. He still has to win a couple more to catch Brady, but he makes a hell of a case winning a three-peat, being the first quarterback and the first team. The Chiefs will be the first team to three-peat ever in the NFL. And I believe Mahomes will now be considered the Michael Jordan of his era, winning his 4th Super Bowl, and on top of that, his 4th Super Bowl MVP. Now for what I'm sure you're all been waiting for, best bets for this game. In terms of team and game props, I love the Chiefs money line. However, they're listed at -125 right now. I would wait to live bet the Chiefs during either the 2nd or 3rd quarter when they trail. They've trailed by at least 10 points in all 3 of their Super Bowl wins. And when they trail by 10 points, their odds must be above +300 to win the game. So you can get them at incredible value if they go down early in this game, which is what I'll be doing. I'll live bet the Chiefs in this game. If they go down, I will be live betting the Chiefs. I also love the over 49.5 total score. I believe this game is a shootout, similar to the AFC Championship game, 32-29. I expect both teams to get into the high 20s. And yeah, just fireworks on offense on both sides. And I also, given that I expect these teams to get in the high 20s, I like the Chiefs over 25.5 team total, which is at +100 odds. And I like the Eagles over 23.5 team total, which is at -125. So great value for both teams to get into the high 20s. I believe that will happen in this game. Now for player props, I like Jalen Hurts to get in the end zone running the football. He's had 9 rushing touchdowns in 8 games. The tush push is just unstoppable in 8 playoff games. He's had 9 rushing touchdowns. He's been unstoppable. In their previous Super Bowl matchup, he had 3 rushing touchdowns. I believe Saquon will also score, but the value to bet Saquon rushing the ball into the end zone is just pretty poor. I believe it's like -265. That's just bad value. I'd rather take Hurts, who I believe will get in the end zone as well as Saquon. I also love Kareem Hunt to get in the end zone in this game. In his past 4 games, he has a touchdown in each. He's been an incredible red zone machine for the Chiefs. Every time they get into 1st and goal near the red zone, Kareem Hunt has been automatic when they've given him the ball in those situations, and he is the running back who gets the football. Pacheco does not get red zone touches, P. Ryan doesn't, and Carson Steele doesn't. It's solely been Kareem Hunt who has been the red zone guy for the Chiefs, and every time they get down there, it's automatic that he punches the ball into the end zone, and I believe he does yet again in this game. I also love Xavier Worthy, over 65.5 rush plus receiving yards since he gets involved in the running game and in the receiving game. I believe he's great after the catch. He's a speedy guy, and he's been the Chiefs' #1 option throughout this latter part of the season. He's been excellent, and I believe he'll be heavily involved once again in this game. This is my last pick, I love Travis Kelce over 61.5 receiving yards. I believe his receptions line's a little too high. I wouldn't touch his receptions line, but I do like the value you get in his receiving yards and his ability to make big plays after the catch. On Mahomes scramble drills, he might have a 25, 30-yard reception. I think Kelce will show up in this game. Vintage Kelce will show up in this game, as it could be his last career game. Let's say the Chiefs do win this game. They complete the three-peat. He's 35 years old. He's reaching the end of his career. If I were him, I wouldn't put it out the realm of possibilities that he retires after this game and walks off into the sunset as a 4-time Super Bowl champion, walking away from the game after completing a three-peat. I believe that'd be a storybook ending for him, and he'd play one of his better games in his final career game. What could be his final career game. I believe he shows up, and I like the value with 61.5. I feel like that's pretty low. And on top of that, the Eagles showed that they were pretty vulnerable to tight ends when Zach Ertz had 11 catches for 104 yards in the NFC Championship game. 11 receptions for a tight end. That's who Washington did to the Eagles linebackers. So I believe that they are exploitable by tight ends, and Kelce will find ways to make big plays in this game. And that is it for this prediction / preview / best bets video for the Super Bowl. I hope you guys have a great time watching it. I will. And I'll see you guys next week, giving you guys my recap of how this game turned out.